Check, 1 2 1 2 check. Hello everybody, this is David with Pattaya Pedaling here in the backyard BS studios. So this is going to be part 2 of the 10-part series on starting a bar in Pattaya. So I do change clothes, by the way, but this is the same day as I filmed the same day of filming the first video. So like I said, I'm just breaking them up into different series. So I don't think I'm going to do any more today, but just this one. So anyways, today in part 1, if you didn't see it, I'll put a link into it. That was talking about the choosing the location of a bar. In part 2 today, we are going to be talking about the beginning parts of the legal side and hiring a lawyer. So when hiring a lawyer, I started talking to a lawyer at the same time that I was shopping around for my location. The one thing that they had told me was they recommend it's very important to do what they call a due diligence report, meaning that they're going to take all the information on the location that you've chose. They're going to take information on the building, the lease, or the property book, all the information on the property and on the owner of the building. And they are going to spend some time digging in and finding research out, making sure you're not getting yourself caught up in any type of location that could cause you issues down the road after you've invested quite a bit of money into that. So with the lawyer I went with for this, it was a little bit on the pricier side, but I did, it's better to, get good quality work, and make sure you're going to be investing into something, and not get screwed over, a few months into it once you've gotten started. So my due diligence report was 15,000 baht. And so once I had the location chose and we came to a verbal agreement and they took down the signs that it was for rent, all that, I submitted all the paperwork needed to the lawyer's office, and it took them about 1 week. And then I met up with them and they went over everything. So for my bar in particular, there were no red flags. The only thing that they mentioned to me was that this property is mortgaged by the landlord, the owner, and I am renting it directly from the actual owner. It's not subleased. So they said, it is mortgaged. It's up to date with their payments, but it's not a red flag. But just keep that in the back of your mind, that if for some reason they stopped paying their mortgage, then, obviously a foreclosure could take place and you would eventually be evicted or kicked out because of it. But that was definitely still not a red flag, so we were good to keep moving on with the process. So after that, you either your landlord would have a lease created, and then you would have your lawyer review that lease and make sure, or have a contract created for the lease. Or you could have your lawyer create the contract, and then both parties will look over the contracts and come to their agreements on there. So in my case, my lawyer actually was the one who created the contract, and that took about 5 days for them to do. We submitted it back to the landlord. They had a few amendments, nothing that was worth backing out of. Very small changes. We made those. We came to an agreement. During that time, there was the formation of my company. So yes, because I am American, I can outright own a business here. But the best way, the easier way to do it and less headache of a way is doing it the standard way that basically everybody in the rest of the world does it that's a foreigner here, which is partnering up with two Thai people, and then the business gets divided out where I'm 49% owner. You have one Thai person at 26%, and one Thai person at 25. Now, they don't really have, in most cases, they don't really do much besides have their name on the paper, but that's, different for everybody's situation. But so the formation of the company also took about 1 week. Once the company is formed, then you can go ahead and sign the lease. So the lease is actually signed, the contract is signed by our company, not by just an individual name. So the contract is under the company's name for that. So once you let's see here. So you form the company, and the company signs the lease. So from start to finish, that entire process of the due diligence report, the creation of the contract, the formation of the company, and signing everything took about 3 weeks. Now, there are people that literally go out and see a building, and the next day the contract is already written by the landlord, and they go ahead and they sign it, and they move on with it. And yeah, sometimes it works out and there's no issues, but sometimes there can be issues. So the way I went about it, I believe it might not be the best way, but I think it was a very secure way, and a lot of things were double checked, triple checked, and I should be able to be protecting myself from any issues down the road once I've invested all this money into the bar. So that is the legal side of things. And so that's going to do it for part 2. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, this is a 10-part series. Part 3 will come out in 2 days from now. And part 3, we'll be discussing the selection of the contractor and the people that will actually do the work to do renovations for your bar. So thank you all for tuning in. Lots of good things coming your way. Like I said, this week we got Tony coming up here. We're going to have a little show. I'm going to have some biking videos probably out Friday. And yeah. Stay tuned. If you're in town, feel free to swing by Soi Buakhao and the backyard. If the door's open and I'm sitting out there, I'll love to meet you, have a conversation, eventually drink some beers, play some pool. But for now it is what it is. Like, we're looking to open the beginning of next year. And all right, I'll see you guys in 2 days. Part 3. See ya.